Story 1. My Uncle Frank's home movie from Daytona Beach, 1998. He spent the entire day at the beach zooming in on all the European men wearing Speedos as he gave a running commentary. Aunt Jane never let him have the camcorder again. Story 2. Zardoz. I cannot describe it. Take a look. Story 3. Delicatessen. It's really crazy, and I think it might actually be one of the better movies I've seen, but I'm honestly not sure because it's that weird, but in a good way. Definitely worth watching if you're in the mood for something unexpected. Story 4. Downsizing. How did this even get past the outline stage, let alone become a completed script, with the studio, along with Matt Damon and his team, saying, "This movie is a great idea," is beyond me. Story 5. When I saw it, I knew nothing about it beforehand. I hadn't realized it was based on true events. I kept waiting for things to turn around for the better because I thought surely, it's a movie, they're not going to have everyone die in it. Nope, the ship sank. Everyone died. Story 6. Meet the Feebles. A parody of the Muppets but heavy R-rated material. I was all in to watch it because it sounded funny, but it's not. It's just a train wreck that drags on for what seems like hours longer than it really is. Maybe I should have been drinking more that night, I don't know. Nearing the end, I was like, they touched every offensive topic imaginable except one very obvious one. And then almost on cue, there was a whole musical montage or something that did that topic up in a grand fashion. Story 7. Requiem of a Dream. I watched it in grade 10. To be honest, it probably saved me from trying a lot of drugs. But, damn, I still think about how dark I felt that day. I'm 39 now. Story 8. Part of this is my own fault. I don't think I fully read what the movie was about and assumed, based on the cast, that it was a comedy. It is a dark comedy, but that's not what I thought it was. I was very confused after one of the main characters, I believe, gets shot and killed about 30 minutes into the movie or something. Story 9. Mirror Mask was not what I was expecting. So much weirder. Also, the hot dog fingers scene in Everything Everywhere all at once definitely had me saying, "What the hell?" But in the best way. Story 10. Oculus. A horror movie about a mirror and two people trying to shatter it after it ruined their childhood. It serves as a metaphor for abuse, but there was excessive glass eating. So much glass eating. Story 11. A Serbian film. The only movie in my entire life that made me think, what did I just watch? And why would someone write this ending? Truly a twisted individual, whoever it was. Story 12. Hedwig and the Angry Inch. A friend recommended it. I was like, what the hell to start with? But as the movie went on, I started to love it. The music is absolutely amazing. Crazy movie, though. Story 13. Irreversible. 2002 French art thriller film by Gaspar Noé. The 10-minute rape scene with Monica Bellucci was so hard to watch. It made me think why the director made it so long. Literally sitting there saying, what the heck? Story 14. Being John Malkovich in the theater. Beau is Afraid on IMAX. Tetsuo the Iron Man on VHS. The Sound of Insects streaming. I mean, there are plenty more, but these popped into my head. Story 15. For me, it was the French film Jules and Jim. All was fine until the end, and then it was what just happened. Modern day. The substance made me so uncomfortable. Story 16. A B-grade horror called Inheritance from 2004. A woman works as a caregiver for an old lady and inherits her house when she dies. The deceased old lady possesses her so she can continue living. There was a particular scene involving the deceased lady's boyfriend. Not sure why I kept watching to that point, to be honest. Story 17. Mother. I loved the movie, but a friend made us watch it without knowing anything about it and while being severely hungover. I did not understand it until it was over, so I was like, what did I just watch? Story 18. Irreversible. The lengthy scene in the tunnel stuck with me for days, and the entire film puts a very realistic light on revenge. C'est arrivé près de chez vous, man bites dog. There are two scenes halfway through the film. Anyone who's seen it will know which ones. That made me feel really dirty for having enjoyed the beginning. Funny Games, the Austrian original. The creator took some sadistic pleasure in this one. The substance, from fan service to fan disservice really quickly. Story 19. The Boy, the horror movie with the doll. It was a decent enough supernatural movie until a bizarre last-minute plot twist that didn't feel like it fit at all completely ruined it for me. I literally yelled, "What the?" and just stared incredulously at the screen. I don't necessarily mind a last-minute plot twist, but this one left me angry and wanting a refund. Not of money, since I didn't spend any, but of my time. Story 20. Blueberry was supposed to be a Western, but things got really weird. Apparently, lots of people like it. I did not. After it was over, I just sat there for a long time wondering what happened. Story 21. Wife dragged me to Dr. T and the Women. I sat through it as a romantic comedy movie until just before the credits. I didn't need to see a full display 30-foot, 10-meter, high childbirth close-up. A what the heck moment. Story 22. I'm going to take this chance and ask everyone to go over to Tubi and check out Death of a Vlogger. No, don't check out any trailer. Just watch the movie. It's pretty short. Then come and tell me what you think happened in that film, especially the ending. What do you think is real and what do you think is fake? That's my what the hell film. And not for the weird reasons or gory reasons. Just for, what the hell is going on here? Straight plot reasons. Story 23, 2007 Grendel. No, not the 2007 Beowulf. That movie was actually pretty decent and had some impressive computer-generated imagery. No, this is the made-for-TV science fiction channel movie that was blatantly trying to cash in on the success of Beowulf. And it is exactly as cheaply thrown together as you could imagine. We're talking mead halls that are just vaguely Roman stock computer-generated imagery. Marina Sirtis is there, but I'm not entirely sure she was supposed to be. I think she might have just wandered onto the wrong set. Costumes and weapons that look like they could have come straight from the dollar store. Some weird Christian mythology connection involving Cain shoehorned in there for some reason. And one of the greatest things I have ever seen in cinema. A 6-armed crossbow with giant spikes on the front that shoots rockets. Making it through that absolute train wreck caused me some permanent liver damage, but dear gods, was it a trip. Story 24. Mostly the art or avant-garde movies, such as those made by Matthew Barney. I watched Drawing Restraint and I was like, okay. Then River of Fundament, it was so what the fuck. Story 25. I like to watch bad movies, but I wish I could remember what they're called. There's this one old movie that's notoriously bad about how all the birds turn evil and start murdering people. It's an older movie about the environment with almost no reasoning as to why the birds turn evil except for the environment being sad. The graphics are laughably bad. Another one is about this guy who destroys several dozens of laptops to reveal government secrets. There are no details as to what the secrets are, just that the government has them and he has to expose them. Seriously, he broke so many laptops. What the hell in a what did I just watch way? Splice. Story 26. Transformers 1. When D16 split Orion with that silence. Then the bigger what the heck came when he let go. Come on. I'm a trans fan, and even that made me go crazy. Story 27. 8 Days Under Martha. A short Australian film about an old man whose wife, Martha, has a heart attack and dies on top of him when they're having sex. He's too weak to get out from under her and stays there for 8 days. Does what it says on the tin. Story 28. Recently, The Edge of 17. I hate the ending. I feel that she was abused and then ends up being the one apologizing. I think it's messed up. Story 29. The Guilty is a really good one. It's basically all based on audio because you follow a police call responder, so you can only follow the story based on what's being said in the phone call. All kinds of twists and turns with a crazy ending. One of my favorite films in recent years. Story 30 Millions, 2004. My mother and I watched it together after I checked it out from our local library. We still felt cheated. I don't know if it's actually that bad or if I'm just too American to understand it, but either way, it was one of the few films that I picked out and regretted wasting over an hour of my time on watching. Story 31. Transformers 5. The Last Night. Buddy and I were high as F*** watching this movie the first time. We couldn't figure out if we were too baked or if the movie was just a horrible mess. I can't read this. It is written in Old Cybertronian. Sure, buddy, it would not be a problem to read an alien language otherwise. Story 32. Blink twice spoilers. I enjoyed the movie up until the last scene. Basically, the whole premise of the movie is these guys drug, rape, and kill a group of girls, one of them is at least yearly, by wiping their memory every day. The main character watches the main antagonist rape, murder, and drug her best friend in front of her while the main character is tied up. The same happens with two other girls the main character just met. This clearly traumatized her and another survivor. In the final scene of the movie, it turns out the main character saves the antagonist and keeps him drugged as a pet, and uses his money. If I were the main character and I had to live through that, the last thing I'd want would be to have to look at the face of the person responsible for what happened to me. Story 33. Eyes Wide Shut. I sort of just clicked on it on Netflix because it said Kubrick and he's famous, right? Roast me over an open fire for my lack of culture if you want. Titties and cults are a good way to captivate a viewer though. Story 34. Past Lives. I was literally saying, what the? During the bar scene where the guy, the girl's childhood friend or fling, started talking in Korean about getting away with the girl while they were sitting beside her husband. Story 35. The Lighthouse. I came in expecting two lighthouse keepers getting haunted and doing something to repel that haunting energy. But after finishing the movie, my mind basically malfunctioned trying to comprehend the things I saw in that movie. Story 36. I think it's a sequel to the British Broadcasting Corporation's Years and Years, but set in America and a bit more dystopic. It's a novel format. It's not a film yet, but an ongoing docudrama shown in small snippets on the British Broadcasting Corporation and other channels throughout the day. It's a good premise, but it's quite disjointed in its storytelling and often strays into the farcical. You can tell when they switch writers because of the continuity mistakes from the main characters. In isolation, the episodes are generally quite entertaining, and there are definitely a lot of what the heck moments. Story 37. Bridge to Terabithia. It lures you in looking like a cute fantasy movie for children. It's not. With never have I been more mad at a movie. Like, what was the point? To teach children that life is unfair and then you die? Story 38. Lord of the Rings, by all accounts, it should be one of my favorite films, but it does such a poor job of making Sauron feel threatening. His minions are defeated by one guy with a flaming stick and a sword. His swarms of crows are blind as heck. And what does the ring actually do apart from making you invisible or turning you into a gray fish-eating weirdo? Story 39. I Am Here Now by Neil Breen. Never seen such a terrible movie take itself so seriously. And as expected, the director has a leading role as God in the film. If you haven't enjoyed the wacky wildness that is Neil Breen, grab yourself a couple of friends and have a glorious bad movie night. Story 40. I don't know the name, but around 2004, my roommate and I found a Comcast on demand movie that was described like, sexually frustrated college student has to return home. We thought it was like a Porky's boner comedy. Well, long story short, the college student slowly develops an Oedipus complex and keeps having weird scenes with his mother. We thought for sure this would not go too far, but oh no, he goes all the way in the shower with her, and we couldn't believe it. The best part is when he tells his dad. Edit. I looked it up. It's called Spanking the Monkey from 1994, and apparently, the description in the title and description, a gripping comedy about letting go, is purposely misleading. Story 41. Thelma and Louise. I had only really been told it was a fun, kind of lesbian-coded crime road movie. As for the ending, I was very much not expecting the rape scene early on. Story 42. Honestly, the 1970s film The Wicker Man had a significant impact on me when I first saw it in my 20s. I had seen horror before, but this was different. Everything was quite quaint and whimsical until suddenly everything became as dreadful as it could possibly be. It's the only film that has had a lasting impact on my worldview. Anything folkloric or pagan makes me nervous that someone is going to end up experiencing a fate like in The Wicker Man. Story 43. The Fountain. I'm a fan of films that are meant to be artistic, but this one went off the deep end of weird. While I did enjoy it, the plot was just super confusing, and the ending left me more confused about the whole thing. Story 44, The Proposition, an Australian movie, written by Nick Cave. Very violent, very disturbing. Walked out at the end and drove straight to the liquor store for alcohol. In silence. We didn't speak for about 2 hours afterward. Well made. Amazing music, but what was that? Story 45. Meet the Johnsons. It was a dark film, but I think the director used incest to be provocative. When you write dark material and want to use taboo topics, you have to execute it perfectly. He was being provocative with that. It was bizarre. Jordan Peele will always be my favorite dark screenwriter. Story 46. Beau is Afraid. The first 30 to 45 minutes were quite funny and seemed like they were going in a direction. After that, I'm still not sure what I watched. I love a good art film or a good independent film. But damn. Story 47. The Holy Mountain. This movie is so incredibly strange. I don't even know what it is about religion, I guess. Stuff just happens. It's just scene after scene of surreal content.